Hey guys, welcome back to Wanderin' Alabama. That's what I've decided to name this series, I guess. And this is the series where my best friend Katie and I wander around Alabama and explore some of the places that we have been before and haven't been before, and just bring you along so that you can see what the state of Alabama has to offer. In the month of February, we stayed a little closer to home, and by home I mean where we grew up. Katie and I grew up in a teeny tiny town called Townley, so try saying that 5 times fast. Yeah. It was basically a few churches, a gas station, and a school. But it is in the heart of mining country. We lived in a coal mining community. Yay! Basically, the town of Townley was built because of the coal mines, and then once coal mining kind of started not being such a big business anymore, then it slowly dissipated. So now it's just a tiny spot with pretty much nothing, including no gas station and no school anymore. It's basically just churches. So first on our adventure, we stopped by the Townley Rest area, which is kind of a local joke, I guess. Basically, one day someone put a couch on the side of the road, and then a few days later, there was a toilet on the side of the road next to the couch, and then people just started calling it the Townley Rest Area because it was funny, and it's still there, and people have actually decorated it. And there's like a little airmail mailbox there too, and yeah, it's just a tiny little spot on the side of the road, and it's weird, but that's where we grew up. Not far down the road from the Townley Rest Area is Bochel's Mill, or as we used to call it when we were younger, the Mill Dam. It's the historic site of a grist mill and sawmill. The sawmill was originally started in 1885. It was originally steam engine powered, and they would use the creek to transport logs to the sawmill. The mill was expanded in 1901, and they also decided to make a dam there built from locally quarried stone. And that was completed in 1902. In 1903, a grist mill was built on the opposite bank of the creek, and water turbines at each end of the dam supplied power to the mills. Unfortunately, both of the mills were destroyed by fire in the 70s and 80s, and now all that's left are some ruins of the foundations of the mills and also the dam. When we were growing up, that's why we called it the Mill Dam, because we never actually saw the mills. We only saw the dam. We didn't get very close because someone recently bought the land that the dam is on, and there were a lot of no trespassing signs around, and we didn't want to get shot. But once we were finished at Bochel's Mill, we headed on to Natural Bridge, Alabama, which is an actual town called Natural Bridge, and it's named that because there is a natural bridge there. Go figure. Natural Bridge is a curved rock formation 148 feet long and 60 feet high. And underneath the Natural Bridge is a cave where Native Americans resided. There are a lot of walking trails in the park, so Katie and I walked the trails and climbed over lots of rocks, and it was a little bit slippery and wet outside and foggy, and it just looked really cool. Katie had been there before, but I had never been, so this was my first time at Natural Bridge. And it's definitely a place I would want to go again. Unfortunately, you can't walk across the bridge. Yeah, it's not stable at all. They don't have any guardrails or anything like that on top of the bridge, and considering that it's like 200 million years old, yeah, it's just not something I would want to walk across. Also, right next to the natural bridge, there's a mysterious carving of an Indian head. Can you see the Indian head in this picture? I hope so. It's really cool. After leaving Natural Bridge, we had planned to walk around the William Bankhead National Forest, but it started pouring down rain, and we actually stopped somewhere and got ponchos, and we were going to go find this waterfall that is really pretty. It's called Caney Creek Falls, and it was just pouring down rain, and I was sick at the time, so we decided to just leave that for another time. So maybe one day we'll go back and see that. Since we had to cut our adventure a little short that day, the next weekend we decided to go out and look for mules. But not just any mules, fiberglass mules. You see, in the town of Jasper, Alabama, close to where we grew up, there are several fiberglass mules around town. They were created by the Walker County Arts Alliance to salute the county's mining history. Because, like I said, we lived in coal mining country and people used to use mules to move coal. Originally, it was meant to only be 20 mules, but they decided to up it and went to 50. So Katie and I decided to do a little scavenger hunt kind of thing and try to find as many mules as we could. We definitely didn't find 50 of them, but we found a pretty good bit. So here are some of the mules that we found. Each mule has its own name and was painted by local artists. I think one of them was run over. Actually, I think several of them have been run over, but one was definitely run over and wasn't put back in place because it was damaged too much. Now, if any of you watch the Sci-Fi Channel, this may seem kind of familiar to you because there was a TV show that took place in Jasper. It was a reality show called Town of the Living Dead, and it was about a group of people in Jasper, Alabama who were trying to make a zombie movie. And in several of the shots in the TV show, you could see the mules around town. And I'm not sure, but I think in one of the episodes, someone actually ran over one of them. So, yeah. Anyway, if you've ever wondered what it's like living in a small town in Alabama, Town of the Living Dead is probably a pretty good example of what it's like. So if you can ever get your hands on that, it was Sci-Fi Channel, just so you know, you can probably find clips of it. But yeah, that's where I grew up. So that was our adventure for February. I know that it's not quite as good as the first one, probably, and there are no ghost stories. I'm sorry. I'm sure there were probably lots of haunted places in Natural Bridge and around the Bankhead National Forest, which we didn't get to go into, really. But, yeah, but not any really fun ones this time. Maybe next time. But that was our adventure for February. We tried to keep it a little close to home, and next time, I don't know what we're doing. We haven't really figured it out yet, but pretty soon we're going to start planning our March trip, and hopefully it will be a good one. So I guess I will see you guys next month for wherever we end up in Alabama next. Bye.